Oh man, the birds are chirping, and it's getting lighter earlier in the morning, and the weather is breaking. I think we're coming into spring. I'm getting excited. I mean, I know we're still a couple months out, but anyways, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Dan, of course, and you're tuning into Collector's Digest. Today's video, man, we're going to talk about Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis. In the 2018 movie, she is seen to have severe PTSD, severe paranoia of the events that took place in '78. Some, well, really many, would argue that it's not accurate because somebody that went through the events that she did in '78 would not affect them to the degree that was shown in the 2018 movie, considering that Halloween 2 is now not canon and they're picking up right from '78 in the 2018 movie. So the events at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital never happened. Well, I've gone through something in 2012, and is it to the severity of this? No, but it's something that affects my life to this day.
To this day! To this day!
Let's get into the video. I'll tell you my story, and we'll weigh this out. We'll talk about it, and then later on, we can argue about it in the comment section below. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead. Let's get started. If you're new here, make sure to hit the thumbs up for your boy. Subscribe if you haven't already. I have a bunch of Halloween content on the way. So Jamie Lee Curtis was very forward and open of how she wanted to play Laurie Strode in this movie. It was very important that she expressed the trauma that one would face when dealing with a situation like in the '78 Halloween movie. That was important to her, and she made that very, very clear. Now, a lot of people try to discredit that and what she's gone through, but I don't think that people understand the severity of the trauma that one faces. Now, obviously, everybody experiences things differently. Everybody has a different perception on life. What I went through might not affect somebody else the same way, and vice versa. Trauma, PTSD, and anxiety it's a complicated, and we don't know a lot about it. They kind of go hand in hand with the events that take place in our life. Some people might even take to wanting to end their life because of it, as you see Laurie demonstrating right now on screen. So with that being said, I'd like to talk about my story, what happened to me, and I think that it will really help people with the perception, understanding, I should say, of what she's trying to act out. And again, this is not a pity party for me or anything like that. I just think that this was a cool video to do because, like I said, what I went through affects me to this day, and I really couldn't imagine facing somebody like Michael Myers. I think that's enough to warrant even crazier behavior than what we see in the 2018 movie. So on September 22nd of 2012, I just got off work. I got a job doing newspaper subscription sales at local supermarkets, and I had to dress business casual, so basically a button down tie and slacks. So I get home, and it was kind of weird. Like I got home. At this point I was staying with my mom and my stepdad. I came in, I seen both of them. They were cooking, they were in the kitchen, and I went upstairs to my room to basically get out of my dress clothes. When you have to wear that shit all day, you really want to get out of it. And I saw that my stepfather was following me up behind me up the stairs. So I go in my room, I close the door, and I'm unbuttoning the buttons on my button down, and all of a sudden I hear a loud noise. Thing that I remember from that point is that I felt really dizzy. It almost felt like I could see the air around me. I could see like dust and debris in the air. I didn't know what was going on. I know that like my loins was tingling. Like it was the craziest feeling in the world. I remember opening my door and coming out into the hallway, and this was around the time that like cell phones and shit were blowing up. Like when people would have them plugged in, they were blowing up in their face and stuff, and the only thing I could really think of is like, man, I think my cell phone blew up, or a lighter blew up in my pocket. Like I had no idea what was going on. The gunshot was indoors, so it was just a really loud pop. Like, it didn't even almost sound like a gunshot. At that point, my mom was at the end of the stairs, and she was looking at me, like, freaking out, and I couldn't really hear her. I didn't come back to reality yet. I still felt tingly, and I remember putting my left hand in my pocket, and it was all wet. And when I pulled it out, I had a hand, like a puddle of blood just running down my hand all around me. And then I could feel starting to, like, getting a leg cramp in my left leg. I still didn't know what had happened. I remember walking down the stairs and laying down and telling my mom, call the ambulance, call the ambulance. She did that. I remember seeing, and this is the touchy subject because he's dead now. He died last March. I remember seeing my stepdad running down the stairs with a pistol in his hand, Colt 45 Army issue. He was in the military for 20 years. It was his service weapon. And that's when I realized, okay, I got shot. And I just, I want to state it wasn't, it was a freak accident. He did not mean it. But it was still crazy. It was like I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I remember I could feel out of my leg blood just gushing out. I mean, it left at least a 6 by 8 foot puddle in our living room. I still don't know to this day how they got that out. Ambulance to come in, police rush in. Obviously, they apprehended him, the firearm, and then I remember the paramedics taking my left leg and saying, "Okay, this is gonna hurt," and they took my leg and pushed it, elevated it all the way up, and I remember it hurt so fucking bad. At that point, it felt like a Charlie horse in my leg. Now I got hit at the top of my thigh, kind of towards, I would say, to the, like, not inwards, towards, I have to say this, to where, your dick would be, but the opposite. I got hit there, and it was the top. It went through my left thigh, and then into my right thigh. I remember the paramedics, after they did that with my leg, they got me on the gurney, and they rushed me out to the ambulance. I remember them telling me, like, okay, you're losing a lot of fluids. We have to pump you full of fluids before we can give you any pain medicine. They took a needle that, dude, no joke, was the size of a dime, and they had to stick it in me to get fluids in me because I was losing blood that fast. And oh my God, I remember that. That hurt like hell too. And then it was kind of hazy from there. After they gave me the fluids, they gave me pain medicine because I was in extreme pain. Initially, when it happened, I didn't feel anything. I felt numb. My leg felt warm. I remember after I realized, like, I had been shot, my leg was a little warm until the Charlie horse. Like, imagine getting a Charlie horse and it just doesn't stop. And during the whole healing process and everything, like, oh my God, I'll get to that. But eventually I went to the hospital, and the nurses, everybody, when they rushed me in, doctors were looking at me. And it was weird because this was on my upper thigh. It went through my left thigh into my right. So they have to look at literally the exit wound was 2-3 inches from my manhood, my sack, if you will. So it was uncomfortable. I always had to have my legs spread open. That's kind of the funny part of all this. But at the time it wasn't. At the time it was hell, man. And the police came in, and they wanted a statement from me. I kept telling them, like, I know it wasn't on purpose. I know it wasn't on purpose. It was an accident. It was crazy, man. Like, it felt like all the walls around me were, like, I didn't feel safe at all. Like, to be harmed outside, or, like, punch, like, if you've ever gotten into a fight and somebody punches you, I think that's, like, when you get hit in the face for the first time, that's the first initial, like, oh, God, like, okay, I'm human, you know, this is real. That's an experience, and if you've ever gotten into a fight, then you know, and I think, for the most part, we all have. I would imagine, maybe, and if you haven't, then fair play to you. Like, I'm happy, you know, but unfortunately, I've gotten hit in the face quite a few times. So when you get shot, it's like, all walls are down. Like, you don't really feel secure, you know. It's like you have a realization that, like, everything that you think would never happen to you, or that you don't have that problem, is out the window. And at that point, you don't know what's going to happen. Every day waking up in the hospital after that, I just remember having complete fucking anxiety like crazy. Doctors coming in and out. I didn't want to talk. I just felt, I don't know. It was really, really, I don't know. It's hard to explain, man. It felt like the world was crashing down around me. It was like the worst. You know, here you are, you're defenseless. You know, you feel like you can't. I couldn't use my legs. I didn't know. You know, like, and like I said, at that point of you actually being hurt like that and getting fucking shot, no matter the situation or the circumstance that it was in, like, no part of it feels safe or makes you feel better. You feel fucking hopeless in a sense, especially when you're injured. Now let's relate that to what happened with Laurie Strode in 1978. Now obviously this is a fictional character, these are fictional events, but murders do take place. Criminally insane motherfuckers are out there. People do get murdered, and serial killers have and still do, I'm sure, exist. Obviously, of course. You know, in the 78 movie, man, she's 17 years old, you know what I mean? And I can't imagine going through what I went through at 21 years old at 17. Yeah, it's only a short few years difference, but still, you do a lot of maturing all throughout your life, but from 17 to 21, I think there's a significant, well, depending on where you're brought up at and your maturity level, but I matured quite a bit, so I think that would have affected me more, you know what I mean? Now, this is a girl that was stalked by somebody in a fucking mask coming after her. You know, she sees him outside of her classroom. Later on in the night, she's babysitting, not knowing that this guy has already taken out all of her friends. Could you imagine being in a dark hallway? You see all your friends dead. You have no idea what's going on. All of a sudden, this guy appears behind you, out of the shadows. Yeah, cuts your arm, whatever. You fall downstairs. Like, I mean, really, that should have killed her. You know what I mean? That alone. And the couch scene. I mean, come on, dude. Like, this is a 17-year-old girl. She's never encountered anything like this before. Earlier in the night, she's telling little Tommy Doyle, like, don't, Halloween night, it's, you know, like, helping him to understand that the boogeyman is not in existence. And then, all of a sudden, the boogeyman becomes very real. It's happening to you. And this is what I go back to, that you never think that this is going to happen to you. And I'm not trying to scare people and tell you you're going to get stalked by a serial killer. I'm just trying to give a reputable reason for the way that she's acting and her behavior and the issues she's facing in the 2018 movie. I mean, this closet scene. What would you do? You know, if dude is breaking into a closet with this mask on and a fucking, what is that? Like a 14-inch butcher knife? Come on, man. Like, let's be honest here. This is terrifying. If this happened to me today, dude, she's got more balls than me right now. I couldn't do. I'd probably crawl up into a ball and just let my fate take me. And just when you think that you actually defeated the evil that's fucking stalking you and trying to take your life, no, he's back for more. So, I mean, let's take all this into consideration with what I went through. What I went through was an accident from somebody that loved me, and it's altered my way of thinking, feeling for life. For life, probably. I will be working on myself till the very end. to the very end, I believe. And that's okay, you know. I'm not throwing a pity party, poor me. I'm just trying to bring I don't know, man. I'm trying to have people realize what Laurie actually went through and the reason that she acts and feels the way that she does 40 years later. I mean, this is significant shit, you know. And again, you know, it usually takes trauma in somebody's life for them to change, for the good or for the worse, you know. But there's, you know, what she went through is it's very credible, in my opinion. So that's really the video, guys. I hope I didn't put you guys to sleep. I hope you found this informational. I hope it helps some people, and I hope the people that looked at her attitude and perspective in the 2018 movie as negative, as not accurate, maybe you'll look at it a little bit differently, coming from somebody that's actually gone through something pretty fucked up in their life. And, you know, again, I'm not looking for a pity party. I'm not looking for people to be like, oh, poor you, poor... No, I'm just trying to relate because I resonated with the movie. I felt like, yeah, man, you went through some shit. I mean, but that's just me. That's going to do it, guys. I have plenty of Halloween content on the way, man. Keep it locked. We're going to talk about Halloween Kills, talk about what's going to happen in Halloween Ends, my thoughts, opinions, and any new information on the 1/6 scale figures from Trick or Treat Studios. I will keep you guys up to date. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop me a like. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will catch you guys in the next video. You guys stay safe out there. Take care. Peace.